Hey, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today with John Kennedy Jr., the real JFK Jr. How are you today, John?
I am awesome. I'm doing
Yeah,
great. It's a
yeah.
wonderful day. It's a wonderful day, especially when you say you'll be willing to talk with me on here. Then it's a better day.
Right. Well, we were talking before we went live about how the counts of the numbers of the viewers of the videos are, we'll call it distorted. They're on purpose distorted. And then, John just started a Venmo account. Okay, I guess yesterday. So here's the account number. I'll put this in the description. John Kennedy Jr. and the number one. So if you're a Venmo user, that's a way you can contribute to John's account, okay? And assist him with living expenses. And also, you've got a Justice for John campaign going out there right now. So do you want to tell us about that? What's happening with that?
Well, me and Robin, we bought a Harley, then we bought a trailer, and we bought a truck, and we're going to take this on the road old school.
Right.
Our social media is a regime. We are being hindered, blocked, and old school is the way. They fixed my internet the other day. The two guys that came out, they were like, "We want to sign your trailer." I handed them a pen, and they were right on it. You go old school, and the energy is so positive. It's not like the internet. You don't get the haters. You get real people with that care
Yeah.
about the country and everything else.
You can
It's
tell them your story and they feel your sincerity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're planning a road trip. Um, I want to make sure we got enough gas, gas money to do what we got to do. But I think we can get the story out, take it all the way from West Coast to East Coast, stop along the way. I'm thinking we could stop at truck stops in the towns we stop at, get on the internet, say, "Hey, we're here. You want to sign the trailer? So come sign it."
Yeah.
I'd be happy to meet the people all the way across the country. I'm asking for people to send me their signature declaring United States government criminals. Send it me an envelope in the mail, and we're gonna fill some. I would love to fill that trailer full of letters. Robbie could drive the truck. I'll drive the Harley. The letters are more important. But I would love to see that full, and take it to Washington and say, "Hey, we need change. You guys ain't
Right.
doing a fucking thing. We
Right.
want our government back." Um, I was just talking to you about the numbers on here.
Right.
Um, if you can read this without a blur. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
Not
There we go. Oh,
really.
I just lost it. But right there where it's circled,
Yeah, yeah. 33,000.
33.3 million
Oh,
posts.
million. A million. Okay. 33.3
So the
million.
story's getting out. They ain't telling us it's getting out, but we know it's getting out.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I guess maybe we should use that name in our tags when we're doing a video so people find the video
Yeah,
story.
we even pulled up John Kennedy, and people that have made posts of me actually come up now. Where before, it's all the fake, it's all the regime, it's all the organized crime that infiltrated our government. You know, it's huge the lies we the people have been told,
Right.
and
Right.
it's all over the place. But we need to change it. We need to get the truth out. We got facial recognition now and all this technology. Robin was working on my fake sister's identity with age progression, degression. She did me and John, and the apps won't even acknowledge them because the as child and adults they don't match at all. Um, it's huge the technology we have, and you don't can't tell me our FBI don't have all this technology,
Of
which
course they do.
they
Yeah.
yeah, and they know the truth. They know the truth, but they can't expose themselves for being criminals, so they're just going to cover it up until we make it where they can't cover it up no more.
Right. And that's exactly what's happened is they've covered it up so that they don't get in trouble and their agency, isn't exposed. But pretty much I'd say everyone walking around already knows the corruption. Like the average citizen, if there are liberals out there that, actually believe Biden's the president and he's who he says he is. But most people know that things are not right here in the US, that the politicians are not who they say they are, that nothing is as it's portrayed. They don't really know what to do about it. I think that's a thing. Nobody knows what to do. And everyone's stretched thin, like financially, they're working, they're struggling, they're just trying to get food and, take care of the family. So it's not been an easy time for people.
Oh, it's rough.
Yeah.
I made a video late last night on my YouTube channel. That's at John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. on YouTube. It's under live video, so if you go to see my live videos, it's been recorded. Please check
Right.
it out. I was on there for an hour this morning trying to get it to post with my regular videos. It's an important video. Um, I'm putting it right out there. It's I actually made it so nobody under 18 can see it because I got my cuss words in there. I showed Caroline my AR-15 in there, but I'm putting it right. It's a short video, 30 minutes or something, but I'm putting it right out there.
Yeah.
How screwed we are. So everybody, please go see that 30-minute video. It might wake you up. I hope it really does. We need to wake up
Right.
because
I'll put all the links to, Cash App and all that, your YouTube in this description. All right. So that's shared around. And for anyone that's able to donate to John's cause or his living expenses, that's greatly appreciated. We didn't actually show the book today because this is kind of impromptu. We just got on, but Stolen Identity is available through Amazon. And this is his picture. And I love like that thing that's hanging back on your lamp that shows half of your dad's face and half of your face. That is, I feel like you should use that picture on as your little logo thing or whatever, because it's so beautifully lined up and it shows, who you are. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, this was made from one of the followers, We the People on TikTok, but
Yeah.
they keep taking down my followers. They keep having to make new accounts, get new cell phones just to do this. But We the People made this. It's an air freshener. She sent me a handful. She said she's wonderful supporter. She sent me a lion pullover shirt, which is cool. I think she had to lose her. She lost her account sharing my book and my story, but wonderful supporter. Yeah, but she did that. It's a good picture though.
It's a fabulous picture and almost identical, and you can't, I don't think you can duplicate that or fake that. You know what I'm saying?
And with you asking for donations, um, it's really important. We're up against Goliath, and these people have billions of dollars.
Right.
And I ain't stretching it. They have billions of dollars. They donate millions and millions of dollars to the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. But when I get a donation, I try to really help. Um, my brother Henry was saying um, he wanted to go to this fair and hand out pictures of my book, print out pictures of my book and hand them out at the fair. Well, that costs money for ink and paper and all that. So I would love to shoot Henry some money to pay for his ink. I mean, it's all about America and our country and stopping the corruption. So your donations aren't so I can live the good life. It's so we can get this
Yeah, yeah,
story out.
yeah. It's really important. This story is crucial to get out. You have seen so much corruption in government, Hollywood, like basically it's trickled down to every industry well, I'm going to say the world. So every industry is corrupt, the banking and financial industry, the food industry, the medical industry, education, like you name it, it's got corruption in it. And it's all being controlled by the same group, right? They've got their tentacles in everything. And
Our United States government and our federal agencies are the biggest crime ring in the world. I'm a personal witness to it. The things I've seen are beyond belief. Some things I don't even mention, some of the murders that I've seen, because they are so powerful and so huge. I might mention something and get a bunch of people killed. I don't want to do that. I really don't.
yeah,
Um, but we need to clean it up. Um, I don't mind powerful families that when they're attacked, they take care of business. I don't mind that, but it has become a powerful crime. They'll take out children for their own benefits, their own profits, for their, um, that ain't cool. That
right.
ain't cool.
Well, look, they basically killed and replaced your entire family. All right. And so,
They did. They're
I,
that
I've learned
powerful.
a, I've
That's
learned a lot
that.
about it.
That's why I believe these other countries, mainly the communist country, um, were mainly involved in the takeout of the Kennedy family. That my family was so huge, um, but the communist. I mean, my father and my uncle were screaming, "We can't have communism." Um, they were screaming Hollywood. They even went in there trying to clean up Hollywood with the communism and the communists. Um, but they both lost their lives screaming it. But what people don't understand, and this is a good right to the point, no sugarcoating nothing. Russia, it's a communist party. If you're gay in Russia, they'll kill you, straight up. In China, if you speak out against the government, they will put you in the street and kill you. For what we are doing now, we would be drug out in the street in China. Same thing with Iran. These countries will drag you out because it's a regime. They want to keep their power. They don't want the people to have a voice. Well, the United States was based on us having a voice, and the takeover is so huge. They want us to lose our freedoms, and basically, I don't want to be drug out in the street and executed. Um, that's the future if we allow it
Right.
to keep going the way it's going.
We have First Amendment rights and we're citizens, so that means we should be able to speak about anything we want freely. And of course, we're not really bashing anyone. We're not using a lot of names, but the whole thing needs to come down. And then you can see how they're trying to take the guns away from people. Okay. A lot of the school shootings and things are what we call false flag events. They're not even real. All right. So they show pictures, they have crisis actors, they build a lot of fear. Oh, someone's going to come into your school and harm the kids. And that's designed so people are against the guns. Look at the countries that have given up their guns, Australia, England, and look at the control that was, it could, that was over the people during the pandemic even. They had no way to protect themselves.
Yeah, I knew a guy in England, this was years ago, that actually went to prison for having a firearm in his house.
Yeah.
These are our allied countries,
Yeah.
and they're slowly chipping away at their rights. Um, they won't take out one of our allies until they finish with us.
Right.
But even Las Vegas shooting,
Yeah.
even with Donald Trump as our president, we lost some of our Second Amendment rights over that one. There
Mhm.
was so much involved, especially our FBI not giving us direct answers on why that even happened, how it happened. Um, I can put a whole scenario in my head just because that's what I do, but we lost bump stocks. Um, Huge. It's just a little piece of our Second Amendment right. Um, but it is our Second Amendment right. But we
Right.
lost that.
Right.
So those scenarios are put in place so we will end up like England. So we will end up like Australia and not have. But right now, if they tried that right now, there would be a revolution. there is so many people that believe in our Second Amendment rights right now. They would not have a chance if they tried to come house to house to take our weapons,
Right. And you
especially here in Arizona.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's just basic, again, the guns are registered, everything is done above board according to the law, so they know who has the guns, right? But it's basic self-protection. As long as you're a citizen and doing, they act like everyone is going out and robbing the neighborhood corner store, which is not what's happening. The guys that are misusing guns are doing so illegally. That's illegal anyway. All right. So,
Yeah, the
and we're not
people that are
doing it.
doing the crimes are the criminals,
Yeah.
and if they ban our weapons from us, the criminals are still going to, then the criminals will have all the weapons. Arizona here, we have an open carry. Um, so you go into the supermarket and there's guys walking around with sidearms. Um, it's crazy. Sometimes you see the most biker looking guy with tattoos, and you look at him and then he's got a firearm, and it's like that's cool.
Yeah.
But if anything ever happened when I was in a store and these guys walked in using their rights to bear their arms, I would love to have them there because
Yeah.
it's the good guys against the bad guys.
Yeah.
I
So,
would feel more safer with 10 people wearing sidearms if there was a bad guy.
yeah. Well, everyone, when we were young in school, we were all taught how the US was the greatest country out there. We were so free compared to other countries. I totally believe that. And I still believe it's a great country. We're free in many ways. But are we really? Are we really? They've got so many,
Oh,
there's more and more laws, there's more and more rules, there's more and more control. And they're poisoning us through the food, the air, the water. They're sneaking stuff into our, whatever we consume. And that's not good for our health, but they're doing it for control as well as for the money part of it. I'm not for that. That's not
yeah.
freedom. Yeah.
I was just thinking when I was young, all the things that could be infiltrated into the bad things to harm people.
Yeah.
Um, but, yeah, I don't want to get into that right
Yeah, I feel like we could cry right now. So let's talk about you and something. So we've already established like the government is corrupt and not for the people like it's supposed to be. And I want it back to where it's wholesome again, that we can trust the newscasters and the politicians and the people that are guiding us or that are running these countries. I want it to be wholesome and
now. Oh, it
you're
needs to be. It,
you're
it, it needs to be. Yeah.
you're entitled to profit, but not at someone's health, at the expense of the health of the people, of the animals, of the earth. You know what I mean?
There
So,
is so much that we need to change.
yeah,
So everything needs to change.
yeah,
Um, what was coming into my mind just now? You go into a federal office building, you can't even talk to the people face to face. You
yeah,
got a big, half-inch thick plexiglass. You got a little hole to try to talk to these people, a little slot to put your envelope or your message to them in. Why? Because they pissed off a lot of people. You
yeah,
go into McDonald's, you don't have to talk through a half-inch plexiglass to somebody. That's America. But they have become hated. We need to have a government where you walk in there and shake their hand
yeah,
and say, "Thank you, what you're doing for the American people. You're awesome." Um,
yeah,
that's the way America needs to be. When you
yeah,
go into a federal office, um, you need to be real. They have become unreal with all this trying to protect themselves.
right.
I went to the Social Security Disability Office. This has been 6 months now, but you're actually greeted by an armed guard in a bulletproof vest, and you are asked if you have any drugs, weapons, anything that can harm anybody individually. Um, that's sad.
Yeah,
Why has it become that way? Why has it become that way? Because there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people dying, literally dying, waiting for their benefits that aren't getting their benefits.
Right.
And they are pissing people off by the thousands, them, their family members, their loved ones. Um, we need to change that instantly. There's so many, our healthcare. I hear so many stories. Well, my loved one went into the hospital, came out dead over and over and over and over again. Um, it happened to me in 2013. I went into the hospital. They actually killed me in the hospital. Um, it's all a money racket. They don't care about human life, but that's one of hundreds of things that we need to change. And we're going to do it. Before I leave this world, I want to make all that change. I really do.
Right.
We're trying to get the story out. We're trying to share it, but it's all about America. It's all about the change.
Right. It's getting the story out there so people understand what the problems are, right? And I think more and more people are becoming awake to that. They're becoming more aware. Like it just feels to the ones that don't already know, like something's not right. It's not like it used to be. Like when I was younger, if you went to an office to speak with a banker or a federal agent or whatever, like let's say you had to get unemployment, you met with a person face to face. They might even have an office, but or you'd go into like a little cube or whatever and talk with them. You would talk face to face. And that's the way I like to operate because you get a sense of what the person needs and what they want. So much more can be communicated that way. Now it's all impersonal. Every business wants you to set up an account and do all your customer service stuff through that account, which is usually quite unsatisfactory. They don't want to meet with you, the person, because they can
Oh,
cut
it's
expenses, by automating, but it's not effective.
yeah, all this government stuff's the same way. You got to make an appointment. You got to go online. You got to fill
Yeah,
out the forms, and then you try all that. You
yeah,
call. You get put on hold for 6 hours.
yeah,
There was many times I was on hold for hours after hours just to make an appointment or just something stupid. It's gotten
yeah.
really crazy.
Or this is what's happened to me before. They'll have a program out there that you can qualify for. You send in all the paperwork and all the documentation, and they lose your paperwork. But they don't tell you that. They make you wait for months and months and months, and you're like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we never got a thing. And then you have to resubmit it. So they're kicking the can down the road so they don't have to deal with your issue, right? Weird stuff. It's just not right. It's not the way it's supposed to be, you
And
know?
they're in control, and
Yeah.
you got it's trial and error. I didn't know it would be this hard to struggle to get out, but then you realize how powerful they are.
Yeah.
They're hindering us from getting the story out. um they're in control, and they do this secretly.
Right. Right.
um we get hundreds of views on our videos, and me talking with you, literally, we should have 1 million people watching this
Right.
story. And
Right.
if they knew about me and you sitting here today talking about, we would have 1 million views.
Right.
People would want to hear our story. They would be like sharing to their neighbors, hey, the real John Kennedy Jr. is talking with Sue today. And we would have 1 million.
Right.
But they ain't getting us out because they love the power. They
Yeah.
spent years and years killing people, putting people in power in place, stealing their money so they can keep that power. But we keep chipping away, and we're going to show them. I'm
Yeah.
alive. I'm right here. We're going to do this.
Right. Right. So I get a lot of comments and I try to answer most of them, but several comments is the real John Kennedy is on X show or on Y show or whatever channel. And I'm like, why are you guys like, hello, are you watching these videos? Like, why do these other guys come out pretending to be you? All right. Well, what are they after, do you think? Power, money, political power?
Yeah,
Fame?
I think they're in it for the money. Whenever you have to ask a question why, like I used to, I really would. I would lay in bed, in my truck, in my car, wherever I was resting my head, and I would think of all the scenarios, trying to put all the pieces together. Why, why, why? But if you go right back to the money, it's always the money. They're always in
Always
it
the
for the
money,
money.
right?
I had a bunch of fake accounts pop up on TikTok. How they are using my username to make these accounts, it's got to be hacked. But I saw it like two or three. I think it was three that popped up. Had my face, my user account, everything. One even had 30,000 viewer followers, and I was like, well, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I'm getting my story out there. If that person that faked my account has 30,000 followers, and posting my same videos, but then the other day somebody sent me a message and say, "Hey, this guy direct messaged me wanting to get some bitcoins
Yeah.
and this and that," and then I knew it's just for them to get all the followers and then one by one hit them up,
Yep.
which ain't cool
And the
because
worst,
we need the money more than they need the money. They might be using that money to hinder us.
I'm sure
Um,
they are. Yeah. The worst part
so
is these guys, some of the people actually donate to them, and they're not using the money for good things. So honestly speaking, when you donate to John, there is some that go toward living expenses, but a bulk is going toward his goal of going to Washington and putting his book on his father's grave. So making a cross-country tour, paying for the gas and the expenses of promoting the tour, paying for the trailer, and he's got stickers out on the trailer. He wants everyone to sign the trailer. It's a very exciting project, and I think you're going to get a lot of traction in the near future with it. But it does
um,
cost money to do so.
yeah, with that said, I want to thank everybody that sent me a donation.
Yeah,
I get donations here and there for $20, $50. Once in a while, I'll get one for $100. There's sometimes I'll go for a week without anybody sending anything. But you all are, even if it was $1, I would be so thankful for what we're doing. I'm
right,
spending my whole life doing this. Um, it's not cheap to try to do this. But with that said, King Smarty is my biggest supporter.
right.
Um, he has a heart of gold. He's awesome. Smartyscorner.com. He sent me this as a gift for my post-traumatic stress disorder. So big shout out to the king.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm just gonna say, I've seen him in action, and he's been generous with so many people. People don't even realize what he's been doing, helping businesses, helping people, supporting people, gathering people, like very positive stuff. He's extremely busy, and here's one thing he always says: he will never contact you directly and ask you for money. And I'm going to say the same thing for you. You will never contact anyone directly. So especially trying to get them to invest in Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency, that is not the real
Right.
deal. So, I mean, we would love your donations, and I'll put the links below in our description, but we're not going to be contacting you directly asking for funding. That is completely up to you, but it's greatly appreciated. So that all being said, it seems like we've been on a
Yeah.
rant today.
Uh,
Yeah,
I had one guy, a lion, a follower, a supporter that's always making videos, sharing videos for me.
yeah,
And I know where he's at. He said he lost his job.
yeah,
And I was like, hey, do you need anything, brother? And he's just like me. He said, if I needed help, I wouldn't even know how to ask for help.
yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah,
But bless his heart. Um, you know,
yeah,
there's people that are proud and have pride and aren't going to say, hey, I'm down and out. I need some gas money. And then there's the people that will say, hey, you know, send me crypto or
yeah. Crypto's out. It's so sad because so many people are in this situation. And you don't always have to, like, most of us don't have an excess of funds around. So if you can help them financially, that's also awesome. But if you can donate things, time, favors, doing nice things like the way it used to be way back when you actually knew who your neighbors were. We would do favors for each other. Okay, so when I grew up, it was a small town. If somebody needed something, if you had an excess of whatever in your garden, if you had this or what, we helped each other. It was implied that you would do it. If the kids got out of line, they would tell your parents that you did something wrong. Okay. You know, it wasn't like real controlling, but it was just implied that everyone would do that. Now, the last few places that I've lived, the neighbors don't even want to know who I am.
Oh, when I was young and the people around you, if somebody needed something, you'd be right there to try to help them.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I moved to Bullhead City, Arizona. I lived there for 8 years. It took like 3 years um just to say hi to the neighbors.
yeah, yeah,
But all the neighbors around me, I didn't even know for 8 years. Um, the sense of community, friendship, and all that, I don't even know if it exists anymore after living in Bullhead for 8 years and not even knowing my neighbors.
yeah,
Um, it took 8 years for the neighbors to come over and give some Christmas cookies. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, it's very odd. People are afraid of each other. So I just moved recently and I haven't seen my neighbors until like a week ago. And literally the person would not even look at me as I walked by. I say hi to everyone, literally looked down like I was non-existent. And I thought, well, maybe that's a fluke, but it's happened 3 or 4 times with different people. And I'm like, whatever, it's their loss. Okay. It's not really about me, but it shows how it reflects on our society, right? And everyone's afraid of the other person. And
Well, when I was young, under MK Ultra, you would meet with people, and I was looking at this woman when I was young, and she reprimanded me and told me to look at the ground. Um, so that's what they are being told. She's like, "You're not worthy to look at me."
oof,
Well, when I remember that, it's like it makes me want to look right in the camera and say, "Hey, I'm fucking John Kennedy Jr. I am who I am, and I don't bow to nobody."
wow, wow, shocking, you
But
know?
that's how they get these children and they condition them.
Yeah.
Um,
We've heard stories through other intel providers of kids being taken out of school during school hours and put into programs where they're trained, they're tested, they're under MK Ultra sometimes. Do you know anything about those programs?
Not really. I was moved around a lot,
Yeah,
but when I was a child, I was actually being tested by our CIA.
yeah.
They had me doing all kinds of tests, and I do believe it was even at the Pentagon I did this.
Oof.
Um, I believe the room was called Romper Room, but they would have people come in, and these people are geniuses. They are smart. They are the best of the best America can offer. But they had me doing a little test, and one thing I remember, I had a square peg, and you're supposed to put the little pegs in the holes as fast as you can, and I put it in the round circle peg in the hole.
Yeah.
Um, and the guy was like, "That's not the right hole," and I was like, "It fit, didn't it?"
That's great.
But that I mean, putting a square, you can get way in depth about putting a square peg in a round hole, with all the angles. I mean, but anyway, um, I do remember him coming to my mom, I believe, and saying the kid doesn't have what it takes, and I'll never forget that because I'm
So
showing him I got what it takes right
I
now.
wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing, though. Like, what were their
And
plans for you? You know?
yeah, I remember as a child too. This other student, they were piling all these books on mathematics, and I mean, as high up as the math you can get. We're talking Einstein problems and figures, and they were making this kid figure them out. And that was because they wanted this kid to work for the government with being able to be a computer, a human computer.
Right.
When I was a child, I was real little, but yeah, I was put with the Catholic Church, and I learned how the Catholic Church will try to, you everybody heard was on all the TVs. Hey, we got a lawsuit. If you've been molested by the Catholics, you can get money. Well, that they don't tell you what it was all about, but the church was actually seducing, torturing these children when they are young to raise them up to be under their control. And that's why it was done to me. So when important things came down, they could use the children and they wouldn't speak out. And, that's the kind of things that are being done.
Well, the kids are so traumatized and they don't really have anyone to go to. And who's going to believe a kid, right?
Especially when the church.
Yeah.
Who are they
Against,
going to believe, the little kid or the church?
yeah,
But these organizations, these criminal organizations, these cells are put in these places. Um, it's so big organized crime. It's huge.
right. Yeah. So, I might have already told this story. A few years ago, I lived in Pennsylvania and a news story came out about how the priests were molesting the young boys in their Catholic schools. And my son actually knew some of those people. And he had gone to some of those schools and knew some of the priests actually. So that was a big buzz for like 2 days, literally 2 days. And then I've never heard another thing about it. So what they do is they move the priest to a different parish, state, area, blah, 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 country. And then they start fresh there. So they have this authority of a religious figure. And then they have all these young kids who, believe in them and have to follow the rules. And then they take advantage of them. Horrible. Yeah. And the fact that the news
Um,
story was kind of like, it kind of died down. Doesn't that tell you something about who's running the news stations? Yeah.
yeah, there was something, and I had always heard this. The owners of the news stations would get their wives all connected with each other. It's all a big club, but
Yeah.
it's the wives' club. The wives are the ones doing all the controlling behind the scenes. Um, but I personally know that. But
Yeah.
yeah, our media is a regime. It's the wives' club regime.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are, like, we've seen video of all the newscasters saying the exact same words about an event at the same time, the exact wording, the same everything. And we've seen that on Facebook or whatever social media. It's shocking that they literally all say the same thing. They're all owned by the same companies. They all have the same agenda. Shocking. Shocking.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I was taken around to a few. Well, I was a childhood actor. I met so many people in Hollywood taken around, but I was actually, and when I was being taken around, maybe they were taking over the news, because yeah, I've been to Fox News and many other, when I was younger. Um, but maybe I was just brought there because they were taking it over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think they were taken over way before we would guess, but it hasn't become as prevalent as it is now. Like now we can see it. But back then we still trusted and believed what they told us, way back when. So
Yeah.
yeah. We had a question today about can we do a live Q&A? And I think we'd have to do that directly through like YouTube or whatever, but maybe we can do that sometime and we can answer questions. But in the meantime, if you can write your question in the comments or send it to me, I will compile the questions and ask them. And if you can go back and look at previous videos, that's helpful, but send me your questions and we'll try to get to them next time.
Yeah, let's do another show and have guests join us and answer as many questions. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think we should wind it down now, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta go use the restroom and do some things. But
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. We kind of did go on a little bit of a rant today, but next time we'll answer questions. So send them.
yeah, that sounds fun.
All right.
There was that Robin was watching on TikTok. There was a guy that had thousands of followers, and he was actually laughing. He had my picture up, and he was like, "This guy thinks he's John Kennedy Jr. How crazy the fuck is he to think that?" Um, and he was actually making fun of me. Obviously, he didn't hear my stories, but it's guys like that I would love to get face to face and just put the facts right to them and make them feel this damn big for even
You can take a horse.
laughing about my miserable story.
You can't make someone to believe it. You just present the story and let them observe what's happening out there and come to their own conclusions. But we hope that they come to the right conclusion. It's going to be revealed very soon.
So many lives depend on it. They really do.
Yeah. Thank you for your time today, and I'll be talking to you real soon.
I really appreciate you inviting me on at the last minute. It's awesome.
Of course. Take care.